Willie D Live.
Release, shed, and what?
Let go.
Release, shed, and let go. Let's say, man, I'm messed up. I need some spiritual healing. I come to Candyss and Docs. Man, what y'all gonna do for me, man? How do y'all help me get through this blockage? How do you help me to release? What do you say? Release, live, and let go. How do you help me? What's the first step?
Well, we got different styles, both of them very effective, and I think the first time we met, you asked us, like, what's the difference in how y'all approach healing? And, of course, her being a beautiful woman, you know, she got the feminine energy surging through her, but she also has a balance of masculine energy as well to be able to, like, compartmentalize who she's dealing with and what they may need on a logistical level as far as healing. I have the masculine approach, but I'm also connected to my feminine to be able to understand emotion. But I concentrate on the mind. And for me, healing is a three-pronged approach. First of which, you got to be able to understand emotion, know how to process that. That's what was going on with my kidney. I always say if you split apart that word dis-ease, dis meaning lack. I know the young kids say don't be lacking out here in these streets. A lot of times we are lacking easiness. Easiness is our natural state. Whenever you have that little twinge in the pit of your gut or that feeling in your chest because something is about to go wrong, you have left your homeostasis, right? So we got to know how to recognize that and then process that. But a huge part of it, especially in the spiritual community, is knowing how to catch what your mind is doing, right? The average human being, like I always say, we thinking 55 to 75 thoughts a minute, 80,000 thoughts a day, and that's average. Most of us are overthinkers, ADHD, OCD, a day go wrong, your thoughts go up even more so. So a lot of us is dealing with 500,000 thoughts a day. Every single one of those thoughts requires a certain level of effort and energy just to think about. So a huge part of this process is catching when your mind is in that cyclical pattern of one particular painful experience and remembering it, latching onto it, identifying with it over and over and over. And every time you do, you relive it. So not only are you having to deal with the stress that's current to you, that may be in your particular environment in real time, you also trying to manage a lifetime of things that have already happened. It don't mean you disassociate, but at some point you got to be able to unpack that energy, unpack that information, and extract the wisdom that was underneath all that pain. That's more so my approach as far as being able to hack your mind to download that information that you've missed because you just keep reliving the pain.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And what would be your approach, Candyss?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that they're about to come to me with one-time advice, and I don't work in that way. And the reason why is because they want quick fixes, and nothing about life is a quick fix. They want advice right then. They want to feel better now, but that kind of ignores and disrespects the laws of nature. Everything in nature is a process, and it teaches us how to surrender to that process. So when somebody comes to me and they're like, I messed up, I need advice, how do I heal from it? 9 times out of 10, we're not even going to talk about what you are actually emotionally upset about right now, because we have to go to the beginning, which is the source of the emotional trauma. Most of the time, like how he said, when you relive what you are feeling, that thought of reliving it, every time you remember without an indication or an intention to heal it, you re-traumatize yourself. So I don't need to focus on what's bothering you right now. I need to know who you are at the root of who you are, because for all I know, the ego is the one that is hyper and upset and feeling like the world is about to end right now. But the inner child may actually want somebody to come and save you. And so I need to know who I'm actually talking to, because the average person has multiple personalities. They may not be diagnosed, but the average person has multiple personalities, multiple identities. Yep. Identities, personas, and characters that live within them. So for all I know, the one that I'm speaking to right now won't even care about the advice that I give them to work out tomorrow.
Oh, man, that's interesting. That is an interesting approach.
Yep. So we ain't even going to talk about what's going on right now. Tell me what happened in the past.
Like I need to give you some money right now. That was dope. That's dope. I never heard anybody say that before. I never heard anybody put it that way. I may not be talking to the actual person right now that's responsible for the source.
Right. Yeah. So when I'm speaking to people, I have to start from the beginning so I can identify who is showing up in each moment. So like my husband and I, there may be certain moments where he may trigger something within me. It's very important for him to know and for me to do my own healing so I can express to him what I've experienced growing up. So there was a time where something happened and I didn't feel chosen. It's one thing to try to express the logic to 33-year-old Candyss that wasn't my intention. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. But you're not speaking to 33-year-old Candyss. You're speaking to 7-year-old Candyss whose father actually left her and did abandon her in his own way. And so that's the person that's showing up. She don't want your explanation. She doesn't want to understand your intention. She needs somebody to hold her, tell her that you are chosen. I do see you. I do love you. And I do want you. So when you are very clear on who you're speaking to, you can give that person the medicine that they need as opposed to the person that's not even showing up in front of you.
Yeah.
Man, I see why when I be watching y'all videos, everybody look like they just floating. Y'all do these communities healing sessions.
Right.
Y'all be all out there on the grassy
They
knoll,
do be floating, levitate.
and everybody just be. It just looks so peaceful.
Right.
Oh man, that's dope.
Yeah.
Like. Oh, wait, let's talk about this book. Let's talk about this
So
book.
I wanted to give you this book. It's
Yes.
called Remember Who the F You Are.
Yes.
My mom, like my husband said, she was very adamant about everything that I experienced in my life. Write it. Just write down how you feel. My mom is 26 years sober. She was addicted to crack cocaine and alcohol. I'm 5 years sober. So from a very young, and my dad died from his alcohol addiction. So from a very young age, she was very clear that there were certain things that I would need to express and get out of my system. So she was intentional about telling me to write these things. And then a lot happened with my social media presence. A lot grew in my social media presence. And I wrote a lot that was helping a lot of people. And I just chose to go ahead and put it in a book format.
So just randomly just opening up the book, I come to the page, Return Home to Yourself. Believe before and after reading this book, my prayer is that you give yourself permission to return back to the truest version of yourself. Ain't that something? Right in the pocket with where we are right now.
Right.
I think if we can just run this interview like 2-3 hours, I might go to heaven, man.
We already here.
Yeah, we here, huh?